Over the past year or so, some of the strongest performing coins have been those of base layer protocols such as Luna Avalanche, Solana BNB, and of course Ethereum. We have all talked here on the channel about why this has been the case and how these coins benefit from all the other projects that are being built on top of their respective blockchains. However, now that many of these layer ones have entered into the ranks of the top coins by market cap, there has been a lot of discussion on which of them will survive and continue growing in the long term and which could slowly fade away in relevance. After all, if you were around during the 2017 bull run, then you know that some of the blockchains that blew up in popularity then are now hardly used at all. This question of which chains will survive and which will not is why today I want to talk about a type of project which is generally overlooked, and that is bridges. So if you believe that the future of crypto will be one with numerous blockchains being utilized for a variety of purposes, and I think that is what is most likely what we are going to see, then bridges could be one of the best ways to bet on that situation playing out. After all, regardless of which chains are around in the future, users will need to be able to get their coins from one chain to the other. Additionally, as the number of crypto users continues to grow, this should lead to a corresponding increase in volume being transferred over bridges, and volume is directly correlated to the revenues generated by bridge projects. That is why today I will be covering some of the top bridge projects around and going over their pros and cons when compared to each other. Before I get started with that, make sure to subscribe and activate the bell icon so you do not miss out on more videos like this, as well as everything else I post here on the channel. So before we get into the projects themselves, let's quickly talk a bit about how a bridge actually works. So a bridge allows you to transfer a token from one ecosystem to the other. So for instance, you know that a token is traded on multiple blockchains. So USDT is traded across most blockchains, and you have some coins being traded on one or a very few couple of blockchains. Well, a bridge allows you to transfer the same token to another ecosystem. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what a bridge does. And now let's get into the actual projects, and let's kick it off first with Multichain, which is arguably the most popular bridge currently, with more than $6 billion in TVL and around $70 billion in cumulative volume. If you have not heard of Multichain, you may know it as AnySwap, as that was its name before it rebranded a few months ago. One of the reasons Multichain is so popular is because it supports 39 different chains, which is significantly more than most other bridges. That can be a big factor in any bridge's popularity, as people like to be able to do everything in one place to save on time, as well as the number of transactions needed for token approvals. Along with support for a large number of chains, Multichain also supports a large number of tokens at more than 1,790. This is an important thing to pay attention to because some bridges may support a chain, but not many of the tokens available on that chain. Outside of its wide variety of chains and tokens, Multichain also stands out because it offers zero slippage transfers between chains. This is an area where many bridges have a sort of hidden cost, but Multichain has eliminated that through the use of multi-party computation and their custom router. Multichain's native token Multi is available on several of the different chains they support, but one thing to pay attention to with it is that there is a fairly large number of VCs invested in Multi, which almost certainly got in at a lower than market price during the rebrand. Next up, let's take a look at Wormhole, another one of the largest bridges with a TVL of nearly $3 billion. Some of you may remember that earlier this year, Wormhole was the victim of a hack where they lost around $320 million due to a smart contract exploit. However, before you let that cause you to write Wormhole off, it is important to note that the entire loss from the hack was covered by Jump Crypto, which goes to show that they have a very strong belief in the future of the project. So far, Wormhole has integrated with 8 chains and is continually working on adding support for more. One way Wormhole stands out is with their bridge for NFTs. This only works for one of one NFTs right now, but this is a feature most bridges do not offer and one that could potentially see strong demand in the future. For example, if people wanted to move their NFTs from Ethereum to a chain with lower fees. So while Wormhole does not have a native token yet, there is of course the potential for users to receive an airdrop if a token is launched in the future. So it could be worth using Wormhole next time you need to bridge somewhere just to potentially be eligible for that airdrop. Moving on, we can take a look at Synapse. So while Synapse does not support quite as many chains as Multichain, they do support most of the commonly used chains as well as the popular Ethereum layer 2s. Synapse has around 800 million in TVL right now and a total volume of a bit more than $7.5 billion. One way Synapse is working to differentiate itself from competitors is through the development of its own native chain. It is going to be a proof-of-stake chain, and once completed, it will lead to greater capital efficiency by replacing the AMM pools on each chain with pools on the Synapse chain. Another benefit of this will be a significant cut in emissions of the native SYN token, as emissions are currently used to incentivize liquidity provision in the pools on each separate chain. The native Synapse chain will also provide greater security for the protocol's messaging system, which is essential as bridges are some of the most commonly targets for exploits. Along with the use for the bridging protocol, the Synapse chain will also be used as a standard layer 1 and allow for the creation of its own DeFi ecosystem as well as new primitives to take advantage of the unique functionality of a bridging chain. So while it has not been confirmed, it would not be surprising to see SYN used as the native token of this chain when it goes live, which would generate extra demand for it as well as help lock up supply as it would be used for staking. A newer bridge that is seeing a lot of hype is Stargate. So just a few days after launching, they have already gained about $1.7 billion in TVL. One reason people are excited about the project is because it utilizes unified liquidity pools, which are far more efficient than the standard pools on each chain. So far, there are only 7 chains supported, which you can see here, but more will definitely be added into the future as development continues. Another reason people are bullish on the native STG token of the project is because Alameda Research bought the entire token auction round and then announced that they will not be selling any for at least 3 years because they have such a strong belief in the project and its potential. They will also not be utilizing their large token holding for voting in order to allow the community to have control over governance. One other thing worth noting about Stargate is that there are some good farming opportunities available, with stablecoins seeing rates around 20%, although they do fluctuate a fair amount as people continue to discover them and start farming. One more project I want to talk about today is the sponsor of today's video, and that is Rendiverse. So Rendiverse is creating the hotel and events metaverse as well as tools and services to remove the obstacles of time, distance, and cost to deliver the next generation of virtual meetings and events. Corporate meetings and events are a $1 trillion industry, and Rendiverse is the first corporate metaverse providing an immersive experience for those events, B2B trade shows, and conferences. Along with offering an innovative new experience, Rendiverse solves many of the problems and challenges currently facing the corporate meetings industry. In their current form, these events are very inefficient. Attendees need to first travel to them and then spend their time wandering the halls of a trade show or large industry conference. Rendiverse, on the other hand, is implementing proprietary AI-powered tech to ensure that everyone meets their top matches at an event within their given time. Because these events will be taking place in the metaverse, guests will be able to save the costs associated with travel as well as reduce the carbon footprint involved. For companies that use trade shows to attract new B2B partnerships, Rendiverse offers a solution at a fraction of the cost of a normal event. Prospective clients will be able to engage face-to-face in a 3D virtual space which mirrors their physical environment, giving users the best chance to sell the value of their venue to the widest possible audience. These private virtual environments can also act as standalone offerings, allowing meetings, events, and connections to be made without the usual cost and time implications. Outside of those use cases, Rendiverse is also harnessing Web3 tech to create new ways to market and monetize hotels in the future. Site inspections will be able to take place in the metaverse, and venues will be able to sell VR meeting spaces alongside their physical ones in the very near future. Some of the real-world development partners of the project include global hospitality brands such as Marriott, Four Seasons, Atlantis, The Palm, and Fairmont. Rendiverse has also partnered with M&I Forums, a subsidiary of Worldwide Events, which even further enhances their industry credentials. Along with those impressive partners, the team is being led by Peter Gold as CEO, the owner of Worldwide Events, a company with decades of experience in meetings and events. Along with his skills, he also provides contacts with other key industry players and a database of over 60,000 global events and meeting buyers. If you want to learn more about Rendiverse, then you can do that through the links in the description. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I will see you guys in the next one.